But it's part of it, you know. I just hope I need to start switching up my diet a little bit, do it a little bit better. But man, so trying to think how should I start this off. I got so so. Okay, I'll start off introducing you. Then we can talk about. I got a topic we're gonna talk about. I'm surprised you with. All right, so 3, 2, 1.
Love it, man. 25 lighters on my dresser, yes sir. I got to get paid. Bit then it won't be a little hit. Go read a book, you illiterate son of a bitch. Step up your vocab. Don't be surprised. Patience to these false accusations. They faking the shaking, cause the money you're making. Bricks some
money on the dresser, drive a compressor, top notch, get the most.
Welcome everyone. This is Mr. D713 with Everything Culture. We have our guest with us tonight or today or this afternoon. We have Leah. Can we all give Leah a round of applause? Appreciate it, y'all. So Leah, how are we doing today?
Oh, thank you. Oh, the love. I appreciate it.
How you feeling, Leah?
I'm good. Living life, being grateful.
Okay.
How you doing?
That we should be. I'm the same, just keeping busy. I've been knocking out my honeydew list left and right, hanging this up, screwing this in. But I enjoy it, my boo been coming through. So I can't say trying to upgrade things around here, keeping busy with the podcast. You know how we do it, what is it, what do we call it? Not related family, not really related family, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have a great support group, and we have our times of just shit talking and just communication and understanding. But I really do appreciate the community that we're building. And I just know one thing, going into this episode, we just go chop it up to say, if y'all listen to the Makings of You, y'all know a little bit about Leah. It was so many things I wanted to say during the Makings of You with Leah. It's like, because when I first met Leah, it was like, man, she think a lot like me. It is comfortable because I don't have to say this shit because somebody else is saying this shit. Even though sometimes I'll be fucking with it, like, let me play devil's advocate to see what she gonna say in this moment. And I'm like, okay, she hit it on the nose. It's like I appreciate like-minded individuals. Yeah, I appreciate anybody that have, just here to do the right thing and live their life. But when you have someone that like make you feel like, oh, you're not crazy. Okay, cool. Because I think we talk about sometimes I don't want to be that person that correct everybody all the time. I don't want to be that person. I want to be the person that have fun, like the chill and relax and be a little bit reckless at times,
But you say that,
I know,
but you're not. Like, you are the natural, like, you're the natural leader. Like, in any situation, your role in any situation that we've ever had, even though you want to take part in it and just like, ooh, because you're the person holding up the sign, I just want to do hood rat stuff for my friends.
That's it.
But that is not your personality. Your personality does not want you to do that. You are the person, okay, guys, let's figure out, okay, how do we get to this part? Okay, but let's talk about this thing. Okay, everybody, bring it back. Everybody, bring it back in.
I don't want to be the killjoy, because usually I like. But if you get to know me, usually I'm the wild ass. I can be the wild ass one, but I'm also, when I see shit getting out of pocket, I'm like, shut this shit down. Everybody go to their corners. Everybody relax, because I'm like this. I'm in HR. We can have fun, we can enjoy it, but I'm also the safety guy. Okay.
You can't have it both ways.
Why not?
You're either going to be reckless. I'm telling you, for the sake of your sanity, you cannot have it both ways. You are either going to be the rule keeper, learning how to toe that line, or you are going to be out here and be reckless. There's no both ways about it. You can't do that.
But why?
You've tried it and you see what happens. Like, naturally, anytime we are in a group chat and you want to be the one that's like, oh snap, the train is about to get started, let me hop on this, and then you see us about to go off the rails,
man,
instead of you pouring another shot and having fun, You're like, nope, we got to redirect the train. Let's get it back on track. No, let it crash and burn. Let it do what it's supposed to do.
I got shit
But
to
if you want to
lose.
save everybody and you want to make sure that everybody's safe, you cannot be that person.
And, you know, my wife, she teased me all the time, and she's not the only one. Because it's crazy, like during the makings, and we'll get into it more. Like you having your large family, and I don't have that. We're close, but we're not as close, you know. But when we get together, it's like we grew up together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like my sister came down a year or two ago before we moved from Houston, and she was saying stuff that I didn't even know she remembered about me. She was like, "Yeah, Brandon always been somebody daddy." You know, my wife is saying it all the time. You always got to be somebody daddy, and I'm like, I don't want to be. I do not.
That's who you are. You can't. Listen. The more you fight who you are, the less happy you will be. Listen, it looks fun, but you know what it's like being that reckless individual. You know where that's gonna lead.
Cause y'all be out
so
here
play your role as somebody's daddy and be fun.
Man, I ain't got nobody. I ain't got no kids. Ain't none of my seeds is grown
into. Acting like it. You're like, listen, okay, all right. So you go in your corner. You go in your corner. Let's talk about where this went off the rails.
Cause I'm also that person. When shit go bad, I'll be walking by like, you see, should have sat your ass down. Leah, I don't want to listen to nobody.
The reckless person will never do that. They'd be like, hey, wasn't that fun? Let's go do it again.
Man, so it's crazy that you say that. So I don't know why I'm like that. Like I think I know why. And you know, I probably need to do it like with season 3. I probably, if y'all listen to this, this is pre-recorded. So I'll be doing the makers of you for season 3 for myself. And
you've never done. Whoa, wait a minute. Time out. You have never done a makings of you on yourself?
I have not.
This is your show.
I've done I try to do it, but no, it feels awkward doing it on myself. It's like.
Okay, so I'm gonna have a bunch of questions.
Well, I think we need to have the same. I was sending you the questions. I
actually remember stuff.
Okay.
You can send me the questions, but I'm gonna have my own spin on it.
Okay, you can do that.
You can't answer your own questions. I'm gonna have my own spin.
I like having this set of questions, but you can throw some more in there. But I want people to to see the same thing I'm asking, so they get to know me a little bit more as well.
Okay.
But man,
thank you for Drake.
I never forget my cousin. This is during and as much love. I know you listen, kinfolk, but I ain't gonna say your name, but you know who you are. Okay, and I remember we have our house built, built from scratch. It was an accomplishment. I was having Thanksgiving, the full family came down, everybody chilling. I always grew up like my little cousins. We all used to be together. We used to sleep on the floor playing Sega and Nintendo all night. And that became my house. And it was like, I love this shit. And I was in the back, and we cooking, the wife and my aunties and cousins cooking in the kitchen. I got my other cousins and friends and family in the garage, doing a little drinking. They back on the patio on the porch watching TV. I got a TV in my backyard, all this stuff. It's like, yeah. And I go and talk to the kids, and I'm telling them, hey, I'm telling them, you ain't got to go to college, but you need to have a plan. I'm just telling them I'm trying to pass the game on to them. And my other cousin that's a little bit older than me, the wild and crazy one, came in, oh man, Brandon been boring all his damn life and shit. He never wanted to take a risk and all that. And I'm like, in my head, first of all, you don't know what the fuck I've been doing, because I keep my shit low key to the motherfucker. Second of all, out loud, I said, now you see with this motherfucker, the shit he got him, who's sleeping on who floor? I'm like, it's a big difference with shit, and I'm like, it kind of goes to the part where one of our guests on the Makings of You, on the show said on the Makings of You, I really didn't have role models per se. I had anti-role models. I saw a lot of shit other people did, and I'm like, I don't want to do that shit. Okay, I was very okay, yeah, and my mother made a lot of mistakes in life, so it kind of made me like, yeah, I don't wild and crazy get your ass fucked up. So I wouldn't say I lived in fear, because I've done some some shit, but
that's what I was gonna say. When you have this idea of I don't want to do that, right? it's always associated with some kind of negative emotion that leads you back down the path that you're trying to avoid.
Absolutely correct.
So how do you navigate trying to avoid but also going toward? You're avoiding something, but you don't know necessarily what you're going toward, because the path is like 1,000 different ways.
Absolutely agree.
You're just trying to avoid this one thing, but you have 1,000 other ways to go. You just haven't chosen a direction. So how do you negotiate what that looks like?
Faith. That's the best way to say.
You just like flip a coin, Lord, wherever this lands, I'm about to just.
If I can, I ask God and I flip coins. If y'all check with Mrs. D713, hey Alexa, flip a coin. I do that shit like tails. I do that shit like at least 2-3 times a day. Like seriously, like man, I could be busy doing this. Like on certain man, should I buy this right here? You know, this is like a little bit expensive. I'm ass. Oh fuck it. If it's a no, if it tells it's a no, not fucking with it. Keep it going. And keep shaking. Because once again, I agree. I cannot base, because I live a life of somewhat caution, but I do have those back my be a little risky, you know, and I think risk is fun. Risky is necessary.
That face is just like be a little risky.
It's fun. That's a hood rat shit with my friends. Like me and G Jack was talking earlier today, and I asked him the question that, man, would you go back in time, even if you did or did not know shit? And he was like, just hell no. Nah. And I'm like, thank you, because I'm telling you, the life we grew up, we should not be where we're at. You know, we did a lot of shit that we didn't get. Like, it was like no trouble. I'm talking about the windows. Like, I'm talking about barely misses and shit, sneaking out of windows and shit. I mean, I don't see how I was jumping fences as high they were. I'm thinking, was that a dream? No. I'm talking about hurdling shit, running, going, then getting some more shit. I'm talking about and getting to some more shit that same night. Then wake up the next morning, going to school, making A's and shit. You know, it was like, this was life. You know, I always say that, you know, when I finally get enough money where I can just tell my movies, I want somebody to make a movie so I can tell the stories and shit, because people won't believe some of the shit. Because it's been good and it's been bad, you know? So it's so interesting how a life teaches us and we learn. That's why I say I'm still learning life. Every day I go by, tomorrow is a whole new adventure. Like, yeah, you know, make every day a great day. That's when my motto that all my folks that that's been following me on Snapchat. No, I've been trying to bring it to Instagram, but every single day I get on Snapchat and I tell people it's motivation, not just for them, but for myself. It's up to you to make today a great day. Yeah. You have an opportunity. Even though you have a flat tire, you can run out of gas, you can get fired from your job, you can go through a breakup, but you know what? Before you rest your eyes, before you close off of that day, you can still make it great. Something can make it good. And you can allow it to happen. That's the energy that I push, you know. And sometimes it's going to be hard.
It is. And I think that with so many days, especially now, that it seems like, man, I can't find the good in anything. I think starting small, you don't need a feeding tube.
You got your 10 toes and your 10 fingers. You got teeth. You know, listen, like it's so many things people can be grateful for, and they're not.
Being able to just choose things and just because happiness is a choice.
Yes.
Being content is a choice. Being satisfied is a choice. Absolutely. Because we can always say, but I want more. We can always make that a conscious decision of like, this is what I have, but I want more. Yes, I can do a can of soda, but I really want a 12-pack. Yes, I do want, you know, a plate of fries, but I want like the whole bag. And we can always say that, you know, we want more. Like, yeah, we have, you know, $1,500 in savings, but I want more. And so that needing and wanting of more to satisfy this insatiable desire to just fill a void that's not supposed to be filled by materialism, is always going to cause us with having not enough. And so I think that even when
we're just doing a little preaching on everything culture right now, y'all just sit down and listen. That's all y'all got to do. Sit down and listen.
I knew this because you're taught a lot of things in church, and as a kid, and you don't know what it means until you have to go through those things. So,
because Jesus protects you, because you a child.
Yeah, there was so much like, he may not come when you want him, but he'll be there right on time. And I was like, well, what time is he on? And what do you mean a closed door is a blessing? I don't understand it.
But do you understand it now?
Yes, I didn't have to live that life. I didn't have to live that life until I realized, oh snap! Like, yes, I'm glad that I got this flat tire. I'm glad that the last 5 jobs that I interviewed for, it was on the last round of interviews and didn't get chosen for it, was a blessing, because now I'm able to go into my own business, all that same energy, because I don't have the responsibilities of learning a new role. So I can focus on building out my business, working on my podcast, connecting with other people who are in the same light that I want to be in, or not even the same light, but in the same industry, in the same fold. Because had I gotten those positions, had I been in those places, had I been with those people, I would have been on a very different trajectory. And a lot of people don't look at, the things that are considered bad. It's not necessarily bad that I had a flat tire, but just now that you know that you had a flat tire, it could have happened on the freeway.
You could have been flying. You could be
dead.
And
normally, it happened to me before. Like I got a flat tire on the freeway. Normally, I am a speedster. Average 85 on the freeway. Average 85 on the freeway. You like to cruise, so you'll be fine. But
y'all don't hear the way I talk.
Listen, and you know what's funny? And this is completely off topic, but because you said it's the way you talk, I woke up cracking up one day because you said, man, I don't want to get rid of my Texas plates. And I was just like, why? You said, because I want people to know where I'm from. And my legitimate gut reaction response was,
you did say that shit.
Talk.
You did say that shit. You did say that shit.
Just talk. They'll know where you're from. It's fine. They'll never be a guess in their mind.
Hey, one thing about everything culture, it's everything for a reason, baby. I want you to know I am a Texan, man. Now I am East Texan, to be exact. From Tyler to Houston, Texas, man. That's me. That's me. That's part of who I am. That's part of my culture.
Yeah, but you don't ever have to be like, I need to. And this is one thing too. I don't think that it's as important to. And I know this is like going completely off topic.
That's what we do.
But just like I woke up. I woke up. I was cracking up about that because I was just like, one, I really said that. I said that out loud. And not only did I say it out loud, but it was like the instant reaction to what you said. Like there was no filter, no anything.
You spoke your truth. You spoke your
truth. You said it,
okay.
And then immediately my reaction was, just talk. Like they know who you are. Just talk.
And you're absolutely correct. Because even when I get online the game and shit, like people like, so HCA stands for Houston, Texas. I'm assuming. I'm like, you're absolutely right, motherfucker. Either you from Texas or you're black. I'm like, I'm both. I'm both.
See,
I don't know what sounding black. I sound black.
Okay.
That's what people say. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay. I know when I'm talking to me on the phone. I'll say that. I know when I'm talking to me.
Could that be the topic? What piece of the topic? Can you sound black? Can you sound the ethnicity?
I don't think you can sound black, but I know when I'm talking to somebody of my same culture and of my same background. So not necessarily black. Most of the time it is. But like, for instance, if I'm talking to someone from the Bay Area, because of the vernacular we use, I know that I'm talking to somebody who's like me.
I would know that you're black. Just but I
No,
would say you're maybe speaking proper, but it's just something in your dialect and your tone. Let me know. I think this is a sister I'm talking to. Just being honest.
yeah, I mean it's more so, but you've never heard me speak professionally before, which is like I try not to bring that into what I'm doing.
No, I've
Um,
heard you. I've listened to you on the discourse and how you present. I would consider that speaking professionally. I hear how you change your cadence. Oh, let's stop.
I no, I intentionally do not bring that in because that is something that I'm trying to avoid
Huh?
is code switching. And so it took like 2 months during this process of creating the podcast, of getting the business together to find what my voice sounds like. And it literally was the montage of play helping kid get ready for the dance.
Mm.
That's exactly what it was for 2 months. What is my okay? No, I can't sound like that. But if I say okay, but I can't say okay. But if I okay, all right. So what? Like it took me even when I recorded your promo,
Hmm. Thank
it
you, by the
took
way.
me 4 tries to do it because mind you, my voice is not that high. I don't have a very high voice. And so because I don't have a high voice and your voice is deep, so you don't have like a level to go off of here.
I can get high
But as far
sometimes, when I get too
but
excited.
as as far as like on the level of femininity, my voice is rather deep. And so it's on the lower end. I don't have a baritone voice, but
If it's a
my voice
scale
is
from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest pitch, one being the lowest, or the lowest, with the baritone you would put it, you would be a 4.
yeah. I don't think I have the deepest voice, but I
You'd
feel
probably
like
be a 5 to be honest, because you sound average.
I'll be on the
Because
lower end.
I've
I
I've
feel
heard
well.
some women talk like this. I'm saying.
Yes, there are some women who I'm like, oh, sorry, sir. Oh, what, ma'am. Sorry. Yes, no, I apologize. But when I taught, like when I was doing it, I found myself in doing because my sister who does the if you go back and listen to the debates, um, she does the intros for me, and her voice is very standard English. It's very radio-esque. And so she has a very nice, clean way of speaking. And when I was doing your promo, I really wanted her to do it because I'm just like, and this is everything culture, and I'm like, whoa, that is really high. I
You
need to,
you
but
said
I
everything
just,
too, but you corrected it later though.
yeah, I did. I was like, I had to bring that. When I was reading it, I was reading it as if it was something for work,
Hmm.
and I was code switching. And so I had to read it again, listen, and I was like, why am I running out of breath? And it's because my inflection keeps changing.
Yeah.
And because my inflection keeps changing, I can't get through it. So I had to bring it down to my voice and talk in my voice to do it. And so that's when it was like, oh, this feels more natural. But yeah, I literally had to go through a 2-month period of finding out what my voice sounds like.
Mm. I don't
Because
have
I've
that.
practiced
I don't have that
since
problem.
since elementary school. I think since elementary school, I have because my mom taught me like it was close your words was very standard English. And when I got into upper elementary school, I started hanging out with some people who did not do that. Their vernacular was closer to Ebonics, and there was no code switching with them. And it was but when I got into high school, I had to go back into code switching,
Mm.
and then I started working, so I had to be able to say that, oh, I'm not those people. I can actually speak standard English. I know how to present myself in a professional, respectable standard manner, and pretty much been code switch ever since. It's been like 20 years. So learning how to break from that to, okay, what does your voice really sound like? What does it sound like when you're doing these things? So yeah, I try to, it's not that the English I'm speaking is wrong. It's just not the standard. And it was in my AFRAM class that my teacher was explaining us the difference between proper and standard. And when we say that something is proper, we're giving that an elevated status, as if to say that the English that we speak is of lower class or quality. Correct. And it's not. It's just the way that we communicate with each other. Correct. So there's standard English, and then there's other, because even in the Latinx community, they have their style of English. Correct. And English is just a mix up of a bunch of different cultures, and whatever we say, as long as it's agreed upon, that's what it is.
Once again, it goes back to everything culture, because that's the point. When you try to tell me, oh, I'm not speaking standard English and shit, like, well, bitch, you ain't either. That's how we look at it. I'm like, if we go back to England, they say all our shit is fucked up. Like, the whole American English language is difficult to many other people to learn. So that's what communicated to me. So I'm like, kiss my ass. I was like, bootylicious is a word. Ain't is a word. Bling bling is all these are in the dictionary. So long as you understand the terminology of the culture, it's enough people to agree upon something, it's fine. Right. So when I get enough people talking about and listen to everything culture, you go know what we're talking about, okay? And that's the point where I'm at, because myself growing up, I was in speech classes, from first grade until probably the 4th or 5th grade. I stuttered and I couldn't roll my R's. So I was Brandon Drake. Brandon Drake, okay, to be exact. I was that kid, fat kid that stuttered like a motherfucker, all right? And now I'm a public speaker. I'm a recruiter, I'm in the community, I'm a mediator. All these things is part of my resume, and I've done exceptionally well, but I've also gotten to the point I became comfortable in what I'm doing. Me doing public speaking, because I'm good at what I'm like. When I was in child welfare, I know what I'm talking about. When I'm going in front of judges and courts and I'm testifying for the best interests of children, and I went from doing this work, then I end up training people about the work, then I end up recruiting people to do the work and train them throughout the process. So I would try to speak to them on their level as well, and I speak to it naturally, because in the area where I'm from, I want people to understand where I'm coming from. I can speak in standard or proper English people still may use, but I'm like, I want you to understand what I mean, no matter what. If I have to get down, and that's what we learn in child development, if I have to get down and sit cross-legged and talk to you eye to eye, I'm gonna do that. So if I'm speaking to you and I have an issue with code switching to a sentence, because if I'm talking to someone with an accent, I hate it, but I will change my accent, try to mimic theirs. I can't help the shit. My wife, we be at a Mexican restaurant or out in public. She's like, "Why the fuck you talking like that?" I don't know. I don't mean to do it. I just want to make sure we can understand one another, But as far as like, I try to code switch sometimes, like when I'm making, like, especially working from home, and I may receive a phone call, somebody calling people for interviews and things, and I'll try to, this is Mr. Drake, so I'm seeing you interested in this position. Would you like to, are you still interested and available to make it to the position? We have an interview available this upcoming Thursday at 3 p.m. Would you like to schedule you? I thought that was proper as shit. Or, I thought as well. My wife, I hung up the phone, my wife yelled from the other room, "You country motherfucker." I'm like, whoa. And I was really trying to code switch. You like, no, you sound country as hell.
No, so, it doesn't. Your accent is because your voice is so deep that your accent is just gonna be thick like peanut butter. Like there's nothing that you can do. There's literally
because at the end of the day, I really don't want to change it. You should love me, and I think you can understand me at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. But for instance, like today, I had a call from AT&T. I'm having some issues with my HBO Max, okay? I'm not able to use it. I want to watch some shows. I pay for it. Let me utilize it. I was talking to a guy, and he had an East Indian accent, okay? He does a strong accent. He couldn't understand me, and I couldn't understand him, okay? I'm like, blood, it's cool. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Put me on the line with somebody else, man. Like, I've been on the phone already for 30 minutes. It's about to, like, I know. Well, sir, you speak. I said, we just can't understand each other. Like, if we were face to face and I can give you body language or through a camera, I'll be cool. I've given you my number 5 times, okay? I've given you my account number 7 times. You repeated it back and forth. You can't understand what I'm telling you. I can't understand when you're repeating back to me. What the fuck are you saying? Like, I'm not knocking you saying you need to change. I'm just saying sometimes this interaction we're having right now, we have too much noise between us. So let's just, let's move, let's just move on to something different and go. And it's just like, same thing, it's a relationship. This relationship ain't working out right here, man. I'm not knocking you. I'm not trying to say, but you're pissing me off because you're trying to make me stay on this relationship right now. I just can't understand you. You can't understand me. I can't. And you were saying, I can't understand you, sir. And I'm like, dog, I can't understand you either. Give it to somebody else. Like I've established it within the first 5 minutes. I understand your tip. I respect your attempt. But I'm to the point I'm about to become a frustrated customer. It's to the point like he needed to call me back, and he called me back when we started the episode. That was like, motherfucker, I don't need to deal with this. But that is a part of. If I can't communicate something, it's okay. I'm all right calling the audible, bringing somebody in to communicate some things. Because sometimes, even when I'm speaking and people can perfectly hear me, and G-Jack and myself may have these conversations, or even when we in our groups, I may say something, but people take it differently. Somebody, it tripped me out when Chase or King Colin say the exact same shit I said after I said it. You agree? Motherfucker, that's exactly what I said. That is exactly what you just say. Like, what? But G-Jack say the same thing about me all the time. It's how you say it. And me and Dawn agree about this. Fuck that. It's how you interpret it. It's how you took it. I said it exact same way. It's just because whatever block I may come off, a little too strong about shit. But it's like, but I'm telling the truth. Well, I'll tell is it better for me to type the shit out for you? But at the end of the day, it's like, the approach and how you could, because I know it's the truth because I'm a trainer. I go like as a public speaker when I'm doing a presentation with someone, you have to also, the way you teach the people in the front of the class is almost completely how you teach the people in the back of the class, especially the motherfucker in the back of class on the fucking phone. It's like you have to go ahead and reiterate. Everybody in the class may caught up to shit, but this person I'm gonna have to repeat myself. And I'm going to have to get their attention and explain it a different way because they missed everything beforehand and we don't have time to go back. So it's a very complex way of communicating with other people. So that's why I appreciate even being a judge on the Champions of Discourse, because y'all break everything down at the beginning, y'all lace it all out, and hopefully people pay attention and get the full understanding when you're having a discussion or having it's a debate about something. I think especially with how social media is and people just tossing shit out in the air, not making sense.
Because they don't have to be held accountable.
Absolutely not.
There's no false control that occurs. And if you think about it, a lot of people will cut off other people if they're not yes people. So I've learned this very early that a lot of people want cheerleaders. No one wants critics. And when you only want cheerleaders, it's okay to have 1 or 2 cheerleaders. But I'm the person that's like, okay, and this is my cocky side. I know I'm good. I know that I can produce greatness. I know that excellence is in my blood. I got it. I know. But don't tell me everything is great. Tell me what I need to fix. Like, it's okay if you want to try to soften it up first and say, well, I think that, this is a good idea. Tell me where I went wrong. So that if I had you in the first 5 minutes what happened in the last 10 minutes. Tell me how, where did I lose your attention, or where can I fix this?
I would say, hopefully I did that when I was the judge on our episode, because that's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah, like so, and we are.
You ain't got to share too much of it.
No. We are like on the private group on Facebook. For anybody who wants to join, you can join. Just send a request. But that's where we are going to be doing a breakdown of the judges, reason for decisions, or RFDs, and the arguments made during the round. Because some of the rounds, I was just like, okay, you didn't vote for me because you didn't think that I was passionate enough, or you didn't vote for me. And not just on the ones that I lost. There were some that I won that was like, clearly, clearly I should not have won. You should have given it to her. But seeing it from other people's point of view of what they're looking for, that's like the point to know who the judge is. But I think that it's also, it's important that we realize that we have to cater our arguments or the conversation to the person. So if we know, just like in your situation with AT&T, there's a lot of internal noise in when we communicate, because when you're communicating, it's sending and receiving messages. Yep. But it's not just sender, message, receiver, and feedback. There's internal noise that happens, that loop.
Emotions,
where the sender may say, well, my intention in sending this message is to gain this result. Correct. So there's a script already in the head of the sender saying that once I say this, it's going to trigger this in this person, and this is going to happen. But the receiver may be on the other end. I got so many other things going on. I didn't even hear what you said, or I don't even know how you wanted it. You just told me to wash the car, but I just took it over to the place for them to go wash it. No, I didn't want them to go to the place because they ruined it last time.
Hey, let me tell you something. Did anybody tell you talk to someone like a child? You talk to people like children?
Yeah, patronizing.
Oh my God. I'm talking to you like a regular person.
No, a lot of people feel, but that's again, that internal noise where, because you may say something that triggers that child in them, because there are times where I have to check myself, because I'm just like, first of all, what you're not going to do, oh, I'm sorry. You didn't mean to come at me that way. You were just trying to verify some information.
And that's usually how it comes out.
Yeah.
Because how I say it the first time, it may come off like, oh, you didn't get me. Okay, then let me break it down to you. So let me talk slower. Why you talking to me like a child? And then the asshole of me, it's like, motherfucker. Okay, what? Excuse, now you piss me off because I'm trying to talk to you like an adult. And like, but because you didn't understand it the first time I said this shit. Now so how do you want me to talk to you then?
No, but you see, that's keep my blood pressure from rising. Okay. That's what I just say. If I'll ask, did you understand what I said? Okay, what part didn't you understand? And a lot of times they may not understand the entire thing, but we can start breaking out piece by piece where they have control over it because they don't know how to control their emotions. So it becomes a practice to, okay, I may not, and I talk about this on my podcast, that emotional, I understand emotions. I understand them. Theoretically and practically, I understand them, right?
Yeah.
But if I say something and you catch an attitude, and I say, Drake, what's wrong? And you say nothing, at that moment, I'll say, oh, he's good. Something just happened. He thought about something, whatever, not my problem.
Yeah. Because
you've never conveyed that to me.
You continue with the conversation.
I'm not going to try to figure you out because, I mean, you said it was nothing.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes when we say it's nothing, that there is something there. but it may not be something that you want to talk about. But if you are going to walk around with an attitude and stuff like that, I'll give you your space. But I'm not going to, as an adult, because I don't want to treat you like a child. Because if you were 7, hey, Trey, man, what's going on? What happened? Tell me what happened. Where did you fall out? Blah, blah, blah. But I'm not going to do that if you're an adult, because we're not married. Mm-hmm. Yes, we're friends, and I care about the friendship. But the friendship is not a one-way street. It's not just on me to bear it. It's on you as well to be able to voice, hey,
it's effective.
Let's say, because it's bound to happen, I say some reckless stuff, and your feelings get hurt, or your ego is bruised, or like a boundary was crossed.
But what if it happened vice versa? How do you handle it because everybody has this shit?
Oh, when it happens to me?
Yeah.
Oh, if it happens to me, it is more so of, hey, so a couple things. We're not talking about this. This is affecting me negatively, and I'm gonna tell you why. Mm-hmm. Because when you talk like this, like there's and I've had to have these conversations multiple times. For instance, a big one, especially when I was in my 20s, when I started dating. Was telling guys don't curse at me. It's fine if we're in conversation and you happen to curse. I didn't grow up around a lot of cursing. And so when they cursed at me, like I think the first time I was ever called a bitch, it was on and popping. It was the situation. So if something just like with the female thing, if there's something that makes me uncomfortable, I don't sit with it, because it's not fair to the relationship. It's not fair to the conversation, because then I will just check out. So I would, if it's important enough to me, I will bring it up. We'll have a conversation about it. I can hear where you're coming from, and I can help you to understand that I may not be comfortable with either this language or this decision or whatever the case may be. And so if I'm able to talk about it, even if you don't understand it or agree with me, by me being able to talk about it or be free enough in that space to chat about it, I think that is more important for me to be able to.
I asked even on Twitter before we had that conversation, what normal words is being used now that people take offense to?
You're saying normal as if it is normal. Yes, it's more close to like innocuous, right? Where it's seemingly unoffensive to some groups. But to say that it's normal, that it's a normal word.
It's a word. But it's a word.
Categorically speaking, it's a word, yes.
And if you're using and he was actually using it for a category. That's the thing. We're talking about rappers.
But that's I know, but you all were talking about rappers, but again, internal noise. Trying to understand.
And I'm glad you communicated that. I'm glad you communicated. You was able to speak on it, and I heard you out. And I still use female, and I use it in the context I've always used it, because I've never used it in that context that you said it, that you felt. I've never used it as that, because you know what? If I see some hoes, I'm gonna ask my homeboys where the hoes at. Okay, that's what my boys we know where the females at. You mean hoes? Like that's how I think. I'm like even worse on that category. But you should never worry about me using. And it's crazy because after you start saying that, I really start, because I don't hear guys saying that, but I start paying attention to people using that. You know, the people I heard use female in negative context, women, black women, at an extraordinary rate. So me, just speaking my truth about it, fuck out. Y'all need to check y'all damn self about the shit. And I mean, I'm telling you, I listen to podcasts, I hear people talk, like listen to conversations like that we had in our group and see who used female in that way.
Of course. Attention. But of course.
So I'm like, it's like I still call female dogs bitches. People get mad. I grew up in the country.
I grew up breeding dogs. Okay, if I call it, that's a bitch. Oh my God, don't say that. That's a bitch. What you talking about? It's like,
yes, you have to say female.
but trust me,
Because
we're on Twitter. You can use this shit in the right context on Twitter, and people try to come at your damn neck for anything.
but that's why you said it right there. Like, it's when you care. And so, and when we were in that conversation, it was, I think, mostly guys. I'm trying to think if there were any women in that conversation when I said that. I think it was just, I think there was.
Yeah, there was some women in there. Like, and some, they didn't speak because they're like, you know, that whole thing is a big deal.
Well, some and a lot of women don't care, and it's not that I feel offended by it. I just would not want to be called that. And so the whole point of the conversation was to get an understanding of why you use that terminology. And at that point in the conversation, it was categorically speaking, but as we got into the conversation, some of the guys did say that they do use it in a dismissive or not so nice way. Yeah. So I think that so just having that conversation, and I'm just talking about the first time we had it. The second time we had it, there were more women on the call. And so, or on the live, and so we had that conversation. But even talking with there are so many more women, but because it's kind of like, I don't want to say, and because people keep wanting to blame the patriarchy.
I know, and that's a conversation for another day.
There has to be some submission to it in order for it to exist. And so in order for it to work, there has to be people working in it. Yeah. So I think that just like in the debates, when y'all see the debates in a few weeks, that we had, there's a cycle. It can't just be one way, just like a feedback loop of communication. There has to be a loop that keeps it going. So when men say it to women and women say it to men, and then women say it to women, then we've already got the wheel turning, and the only thing that can stop it is us. But there's so much division. Well, I'm not like the females over there, and it's like, okay, but did you mean like categorically?
No, they did not mean categorically.
Or are you saying this in a derogatory way?
Yeah, and that's what I'm just like, I pay attention. I listen. I sit back and I'm like, ain't this some shit? Because I really didn't pay attention to it until you start saying it. Because even the women around, they go say bitch and hoe. They don't say females. But now I'm paying attention. I have a more diverse group of people, but I only see in a subcategory of black people. And when you say it came from Baby Boy, I'm like,
I should say the illustration came strong with Baby Boy.
It did, and that's what I say. And I remember him saying that, and I'm like, I've only watched Baby Boy 3 to 4 times in my life. I blocked BET from my channels over 10 years ago. I do not fuck when people all this shit people on now. I've been on that shit. Welcome to the world. Stop putting out this bullshit in your body and your mind. But you know, do what you want to do. You grown blood. You know, do what you want to do. But I stopped. So BET started showing some shit that I'm like, this does not support my culture. It doesn't. That's why I had to stop fucking with it. When they cut off the real BET Comic View, I'm like, I'm no longer with BET.
I was so BET. I used to get in trouble like every choir rehearsal night. My parents went to the choir rehearsal, and they would come home and find me because I'm a night owl, so I'm up all night, and so I'm the only one that's up when everybody should be in bed. My parents would come home and catch me watching BET, catch me watching Comic View, and this is when Comic View had judges on it.
Yeah.
It was still when it's still the red carpet.
When it had them little skits too and shit.
Ray was before he was the bartender. Oh my gosh.
What was Miss? Oh my God, light skinned woman. Miss Laura. Yes, I love that. Yes. Man, y'all, that's a whole generation right there. That's love.
Listen, it's great. Like I would watch it all the time, and I mean I used to get in so much trouble watching it, but I think that it's not, and I know you said you watched it recently, but I think that it, and just like one of the ladies was saying, that in her culture, like that's what, you don't give them the respect of a person, of a woman, you call them a female in their culture, and it's like,
And I was gonna say that.
and that's why I don't tell people in my space not to curse.
Yeah.
What I say is, I prefer you not to curse at me. And so if we're having a conversation, there is not necessary for you to curse at me. I'm not going to change the way you talk, but I want to let you know to respect my boundaries.
And I know I can do it. That's why I do. I know I can do it because at work, I don't. In my previous job, I didn't curse it much. My current job, they be cussing all around the place. So I may drop a curse word every now and then, but still feel uncomfortable, But like, shit, Leah, is that cursing at you? Or is that like, what do you classify that?
I don't think you're cursing at me. Cursing at me is more demeaning.
Okay, calling you curse. Because my thing,
not necessarily calling you curse, but like when you're trying to cuss me out or being rude or derogatory toward me.
Yeah.
I don't, and you don't have to use curse words to do it, but for whatever reason, where I went to college, especially when I started dating, that's the only way that you have to be, like, especially if a dude was trying to holler and I didn't want to engage in that, and they switch up so quick, and it's just like that. I don't like it.
One day we'll have a conversation about that. There's nothing
attractive about. To me, there's not. It's more attractive for me for a guy to be able to articulate his point in a way that everybody can understand, without having to curse. I can understand if you have to emphatically state a point and you have to curse. I can understand that because there are some jokes, there are some points, there are some things that land better with curse words.
Shit.
But
I'm like, see, you still say but. I'm gonna like say shit. And I want, trust me, I told you what the wife and I got going on right now. I'm trying to stop saying the N-word. I am.
But it's a mentality thing. Like, why do you want to stop? Are you wanting to stop because you don't like the way it sounds? Or are you wanting to stop because fundamentally
it's not the best? I know I'm better than that, but I've been raised to feel like it's normal. It's been part of my language, my dialect, Like if it wasn't so frowned upon, it would be every motherfucking culture, everything, that's what it would be. But I once again, I know who's going to be on that episode talk about why we have such sharp tongues. I know exactly where I get it from. It wasn't a television either, okay? But it's just something. It's been around me all my life, and it's just it takes work. Like I've paid over the 25th. We started doing this maybe on the 10th or something. I didn't pay my wife $25. Like, and that's with the one she's heard.
I think you owe her a lot more than that.
But we're not gonna talk about that right now. Whenever she listens to this episode, it's gonna be past the dude's date. It will be fine. And the next word is gonna be bitch. I'm gonna stop trying to use bitch. Then it's gonna be motherfucker. Like, say how it's gonna all these things, because even with the show, even when I started doing this show, with the podcast, season 1, I would ask my folks on Snapchat and stuff, hey, should I stop cursing? I'm trying to really get to a point where people can understand me. I want everybody to listen to this, okay? A lot of people like, well, that's not you. The people who's really been following me, people really know me, they're like, that's not you. You curse. And if you try to censor yourself, you're not going to come off as genuine as you are. But I still say I am who I am. Even when I'm professional, even when I'm laughing, tripping, even when I'm in that, this is who makes me, that's what make me me. I don't like being put in a bubble. You cannot stay, because this group of people may know me for this group of people may know me for this group of people may know me for that. And it doesn't make me fake anything like that. It's just genuinely, this is my mindset. I'm thinking in all different ways, you know. And I'm same thing with culture. If I want to, it's just when I eat. That's part of my culture. My wife was like, get on me all the time because I may eat some barbecue with some fried rice and some ice cream afterwards. She's like, your stomach's gonna be fucked up. I'm like, but I want it all. I want to consume it all. And you know what? Who's gonna tell me I can't have it? Now, when I'm sick, shit, later on,
You're gonna be like, oh, why did I do this? But it was so good.
And my main thing I love yelling is thug life.
Nah, it don't always work. It does not always work.
But I'm like, I love this because you know, you have a background in accounting. It was accounting or finance. Finance. But so you mentioned earlier, it's like sociology and that my majors are psychology and sociology, and they don't get along with each other. By the way, they like my professors hated each other. Like, and that was no ha he shit. They're like, fuck that philosophy about this shit. I'm like, you kind of need both, you know? And I think it's a balance. But I love the way you have a good outlook on communication. Because once again, the conversation we're having right here, I'm not able to have with many other people. So I really appreciate it. And since we're going to communication, man, it's something that I've been talking about for some time, and it's a passion of mine. I love it. And I promise I was going to help you with this. And tonight's the night.